Everyone who reads the Bible or who is a Christian knows the name of the first woman who was ever created as Eve. But the thing is, her name was not Eve. Her name was woman. So let's talk about it. We know that God created male and female. And when he created them, he gave them the same assignment. And that means that your biology doesn't define your purpose. We talked about this in part 1 of this series. Now, remember that when God created the animals, he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And basically, whatever name the man called them was the name that God actually had in mind. That entire arrangement was God's way of test running the human that he had already created to see how well he was connected to divine intention. Remember, God said, we are creating them so that we can delegate them to do this and that on our behalf, right? So if the name that Adam called the animals was the name that they already had, then it means that yes, this prototype works well. Now, just hold on to that thought for a moment. And now the same thing for Eve. When God brought her to the man that he had created, he also called her woman, acknowledging that God made this woman of the same material and of the same species. Although they were male and female, they had different biological gender, they had the same capacity. The only difference was in their physique. So she was part of mankind. He was man. She was woman. That was what Adam said when he saw Eve the first time. So now you see that man named the animals correctly based on what God had in mind that their name is. And he also named woman correctly. And all this happened before the fall. But immediately after the fall, after God had said, these are the consequences. You guys made the choice. So see, it will play out like this. Immediately after that, he says that he gave her a name, Eve. And the name Eve simply means she's the mother of all living. And that name puts her under him, giving her a particular role, mother. So woman is a broad name because she can be anything. But Eve is a definite name, is a gender role. You are going to be the mother of all living. And yes, you may say, but she has the capacity to bear children right from the beginning. Yes, that's the fact, but that was not her defining marker. She could choose to use that option because the Bible still says that marriage is optional. You don't have to marry, right? So if marriage was optional, God puts that capacity to have children if you want to use it. But by giving woman the name Eve, it was basically giving her a gender role. All you are good for from now on is to be the mother of all living. And to show you that this is what it was, if she was the mother of all living, she was not a hermaphrodite. She was not going to give birth to the children. She will not just wake up and say, hey, I'm pregnant. He was going to be the father of all living because it is with his sperm that she will be able to fertilize the egg and give birth to them as humans, right? So if he gave her the name Eve, which is basically a gender role, why didn't he change his name to Abba? Because Abba is more like daddy, father. Why didn't he change his name to Abba since he's going to be the father of all living? So you see that? Because if you look at it, the name Ish means man or Adam. And the name Isha means woman. But it doesn't mean Eve. The name Adam just talks about the male part of the human species. And the name woman or Isha means the female part of the human species. But the name Eve restricts her to a gender role, which is all you are good for is to be the mother. Because if her name is Eve, then he should be Abba. Right? But no, he held on to the name Adam, which gives him freedom to go ahead and do whatever he wants. That was the first manifestation of that restriction of woman. Go under the man, all you're good for is to have children, and the man will rule over you. And so she became male-centered because the only way that she can become a mother is if she stays under a man, and that's what will give her worth. Right? And so you can see that since Adam didn't change his name to Abba, it means that fatherhood doesn't define men. It means that they can just drop their sperm, give their name to the children, and walk away, leaving the task of day-to-day nurturing to mothers. Because all that makes you worthwhile, all that makes you useful to the human species is if you have children. Now, interestingly, red pill communities love to call women female as a way to reduce their worth to their biological functions. They'll say men, and then they'll say females. You see that they don't like that name, woman. Now, interestingly also, patriarchy expects women not to just mother only their babies, but they expect women to mother the men also. So they're going to be taking care of them and, be a mom to them. But at the same time, they'll be ruled by the man that they mother. So what I want you to take away from this today is don't let your biological form determine your purpose. Don't live under the name Eve. You are woman. You are created to increase, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue, and have dominion. And all these have nothing to do with just being physical realities. There are so many ways that we can increase the capacity of the earth. There are so many ways we can multiply the capacity of the earth. There are so many ways we can replenish and make the earth to keep bringing forth. There are so many ways that we can subdue the earth and make sure that everything is in its place. There's so many ways that we can have dominion over how things work in the earth. Why is it that they have given us that gender role of Eve, or mother of all living, but they rejected the gender role of Abba, or father of all living? They want you to feel like being a mother is the greatest achievement. They make you to feel sad if you even want to have children and you're not able to. Then you feel like, oh, there's something missing. Yeah, you can feel like I would have loved to. But for you to now feel like if I don't have this, then it means I'm less of a woman. No, children don't make you a woman. Eve was woman without children. So not having children doesn't make you less of a woman, not one bit. Refuse to live in this box that patriarchy has created for all women out there. You need to contribute your own quota to life on earth as woman, which is basically the other half of the human species, not necessarily as mother, but as a woman. So let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video.